Kazakhstan held more than 1,000 international events aimed at promoting peace and strengthening security in the world as part of its tenure as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. Kazakhstan's principles and ideas put forward during the two-year term in the Security Council were praised by the United Nations members and the international community and raised Kazakhstan's profile on a global scale.
I'd like to congratulate the government of Kazakhstan, Parliament of Kazakhstan, people of Kazakhstan for very successfully completing its 2 years mandate as non-permanent member of the Security Council at the United Nations. I could say that during these 2 years, it's a short time, but Kazakhstan has actually rolled out many important initiatives and left behind a lasting impression to many people who has observed the performance of Kazakhstan.
Европа парламентінің әріптесім айтып еді, осыған кірісер кезде сендерге 138 мемлекет.
My colleague from the European Parliament said that when Kazakhstan was entering the Security Council, 138 countries voted for us, and more countries learned about Kazakhstan during our term, and more UN member countries will vote for Kazakhstan if we run for the membership in the future, because our diplomats and other government and related officials involved in the activities of the Security Council performed a very thorough and proper work which gained much support. The UN Security Council membership contributed to the growth of the country.
Барлығында да үлкен қолдау тапты деген бұл жалпы мемлекетіміздің өсуі, мемлекетіміздің абыройы, мемлекетіміздің болашағы.
During its term in the UN Security Council, Kazakhstan showed itself as a peacekeeping country aimed at abolition of nuclear weapons and eradication of terrorism. Kazakhstan's UN Security Council membership happened at the time of deterioration of the political conflicts in the world. Kazakhstan proved to be a peacekeeper aimed to make peace between countries. Kazakhstan also addressed economic sanctions and Central Asian issues. Kazakhstan gained an important experience in the United Nations Security Council. Kazakhstan addressed important Central Asian matters at the global level and contributed to finding solutions to these issues. It was a platform which allowed Kazakhstan to outline the main interests of its foreign policy on the international level and work them out. Kazakhstan's activities were aimed at the implementation of President Nazarbayev's political address to UN Security Council, titled Kazakhstan's Concept and Vision for Sustainable Global Partnerships for a Secure, Just and Prosperous World. The document was based on the World, the 21st Century Manifesto. Trade turnover between Kazakhstan and Finland totaled $266 million in 2018. The export value from Kazakhstan to Finland reached about $115 million last year. Kazakhstan exported oil, coal, motor drives, power supply units, trucks, soil compacting machines, as well as road construction and building vehicles. Finland exported goods such as oil products, paper and pharmaceutical products to Kazakhstan. The two countries are interested in strengthening mutually beneficial economic and investment cooperation, particularly in alternative energy and innovative technologies. As part of an agreement reached between Kazakhstan and Finland, the parties are planning to build a biogas power unit between 2021 and 2023 in West Kazakhstan region.
2 years ago, when your president visited Finland, so we agreed on 4 different areas where we would work together, and they are energy, transport, agriculture, and education. And those working groups have been working quite closely, and they have reached some practical arrangement how they should proceed with the cooperation.
Finland is one of Kazakhstan's key partners in the European Union. The two countries enjoy a dynamic and mutually beneficial partnership and have a significant potential for expanding ties across the entire range of cooperation. Belarusian officials expressed interest in the shipment of gasoline produced in Kazakhstan. The two parties are currently negotiating the volume of the fuel and the delivery terms. Meanwhile, the gasoline produced in Kazakhstan will be used at a Belarusian oil refinery. Based on the data provided by independent sources, the production of gasoline at Belarusian oil refineries reduced by 3 to 3.5% per year and is currently worth less than 3 million tons. There may be several reasons of the decrease in values. Kazakhstan's assistance in supplying gasoline to the Belarusian oil refineries will help revive the Belarusian oil enterprises. Previously, Belarus held negotiations in the gasoline shipments with countries such as Iran and Azerbaijan. However, the country's favorable partner turns out to be Kazakhstan, a member of the Eurasian Economic Union. Presidents of Kazakhstan and Belarus have decided to increase the trade turnover up to the value of $1 billion. Last year, the goal was almost reached and the countries have a mutually beneficial cooperation. We received goods from Kazakhstan, such as cotton, machine building equipment, and oil. Experts believe that the delivery of the Kazakh fuel will open a new stage in the mutually beneficial cooperation between the countries. A mill complex in Kostanai exports more than 90% of the produced flour. The enterprise, which has no analogues in Central Asia, processes 700 tons of grain per day. Since the beginning of the year, the Kostanai enterprise exported 23,000 tons of products. To date, the flour produced at the enterprise is shipped to Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and China. The mill increases the shipments to China. We shipped our flour in both containers and wagons. We have already shipped 25 containers and 10 covered wagons. Regional enterprises produce more than 1 million tons of flour per year. The flour production has increased by 16% with the launch of the large mill complex. The enterprise operates 24 hours a day and has the capacity of producing 155,000 tons of output per year. The investment in the project totaled more than 3 billion tenge, part of which was invested by Turkish partners.
Kazakhstan'ın жақсы болған көп нәрселері бар.
The government created investor-friendly environment and helped us with infrastructure. It will be profitable in 7 years. A single technological line allows managing the consumer properties of the flour. The high quality, which was appreciated by foreign customers, is controlled at every production stage. Our laboratory has the latest equipment, which determines both basic and extra flour parameters, such as humidity, gluten, and brightness. The equipment is also able to perform a detailed analysis. Furthermore, the advanced technologies of the export-oriented enterprise allowed reducing the amount of bran waste by 7%, which in turn had a positive impact on the production volumes and the production costs. Entrepreneurs in Taraz reconstructed and commissioned an ammonium phosphate fertilizers plant. The plant was opened due to a high demand for Kazakhstan-made products. 7 million tenge were allocated for the investment project. As a result, the plant's annual capacity increased from 300,000 to 500,000 tons of products. The mineral fertilizers are exported to multiple countries, including South America, Afghanistan, Ukraine, Russia, and China. Uzbekistan is another country interested in the Kazakh fertilizers and is planning to purchase 50% of the enterprise's output. Previously, fertilizers were purchased in spring and autumn, while now the demand for them is high in any season. About 40% of the output remains in Kazakhstan, because since last year, Kazakh farmers started purchasing more fertilizers and the demand increased. One of the reasons is that the government subsidizes about 50% of the purchases. Kazakhstan prioritizes modernization of its legal framework and bringing the legislature in accordance with international best practices, which is evidenced by Kazakhstan's positions in global surveys. International organization World Justice Project has given a higher rank to the country in its Global Rule of Law Index. Kazakhstan was ranked 65th among 126 countries, which is the highest position among the Central Asian countries. The index is calculated once every 2 years based on several criteria.
У нас сейчас внедрены состязательность правосудия. То есть адвокаты сейчас...
We implemented the adversarial judicial system when advocates can protect the rights of their clients at an open court. It is a new development for us. We are advancing on the rankings in accordance with the stability indicators identified by the United Nations. The limitation of authorities of the government agencies and separation of businesses from the government agencies and separation between the government agencies is another new development. We can also see the protection of fundamental constitutional rights, including the right for the social protection, as the government is focused on the social sector.
На сегодняшний день мы видим социальную направленность именно государства.
A new checkpoint was opened at the border between Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. It is the 17th vehicle checkpoint between the neighboring countries. The checkpoint, which was built during the Soviet era, was reconstructed and provided with modern equipment. The new checkpoint will ease travels to Uzbekistan. There are about 100 mines that are currently being developed in Tajikistan. There are more than 600 identified and explored deposits of polychemical, rare and precious metals in the Republic. Last year, Tajikistan produced a record amount of gold. Compared to 2017, the volumes increased by almost 17% and reached about 6.5 tons. Farmers in Turkmenistan started growing bananas. The agrarians are harvesting the first yield in the south of the Republic. The exotic plant is growing well and started actively yielding fruits. The farmers are set to harvest 30 to 40 tons of bananas from the first yield. Pomegranates from Uzbekistan are available in the markets in France for the first time. Selection, storage and delivery of the Uzbek produce was performed based on high standards. The fruits were harvested in southern regions of Uzbekistan, packaged and transported in special vehicles with a regulated cooling. French company representatives expressed interest to continue importing fruits and vegetables from Uzbekistan. An innovative learning approach was introduced in one of the schools for gifted children in Kostanai. 2 robots have been assisting the teachers since the beginning of the academic year. One of the robots, named T, stands at the main entrance. The robot greets visitors and introduces them to the school. I, the second robot, teaches astronomy. The robots constantly monitor the teaching progress. However, they do not rate the students. The teachers at the school said that the robots also act as a friend for the students. When we saw the robots for the first time, we were very surprised. Only our school has such robots. The robots not only teach lessons, but can also move its hands, dance, and tell funny stories. The robots can also have a dialogue with the students. They can ask them any questions. Both students and teachers have implemented special programs for the intellectual robots. Other robots are also being created by high school students. Scientist Ahsan Omarov is modernizing the famous works of the great Kazakh poet Abai. A poem titled The New Law was first discovered 50 years ago in the archives of the Russian city of Omsk by academician Alkei Margulan. However, the 34-verse poem caused controversy due to the political system of that time. In the end, the Philological Council decided to forbid the poem by the great poet. The Abai studies expert strongly believes that the poem was written by Abai because the poem is written in the style of Abai. The topic is also based on the thoughts about the corruption of the Kazakh and the society during the period, which is in line with the poet's views. Over the recent years, about 10 to 15 Abai's poems were found, including this biggest poem. The period between 1878 and 1883 was unknown because Abai was convicted at that time. It looked like he did not write poems and made no translations. However, it was discovered that in these 5 years, Abai was mastering his skills, met with his Russian friends and wrote poems. I have no doubts that this poem was written by Abai. The last 5 verses especially prove it. Previously, there were 175 known works by the great poet of the Kazakh literature. Now, the researcher will publish 20 more works. To promote them among the younger generation, the Abai expert is holding meetings with school students to share the findings. German archaeologists recreated the oldest pants, which date back to more than 3,000 years ago. German archaeologist Maike Wagner identified the age of the trousers during her research work. The Eurasian Nomads clothing item was discovered during archaeological excavations in 2014. Professor of the German Archaeological Institute emphasized that the pants were well preserved due to the dry climate. The finding differs from the previous discoveries due to the age and the complex making technique. Maike Wagner wrote a book on the world archaeology.
Die erste Entdeckung, die wir gemeinsam gemacht haben, war das Alter der Hose. Also wir haben Wollfäden,
In our book, we tried to explain who, where and why pants are invented. The findings should gain more recognition among both archaeologists and the world. I remember calling this an important discovery when, after performing an analysis of a piece of wool, we identified that these pants were made more than 3,000 years ago. We discovered them in a tomb on a man's body. We assumed that he was a horse-riding warrior. Scientists claim that the Central Asian nomads invented the pants for horseback riding. To recreate the ancient trousers, designer Moa Hallgren studied ancient techniques and ornaments for months and spent weeks matching yarns. The process took a year of meticulous work. A copy of the valuable item was tested during a horseback riding.
Diese Kniezone hier gemacht wurde, da musste ich einige Tests erstmal machen, die richtige.
There is an elaborate ornament in the knee area. I didn't know what technique I should use to recreate it. It was not easy to repeat the design. The pants were made of 3 parts. I used a manual loom to create the pants. I also ordered special crude yarns made of sheep wool. As for the practical part of our research, we found out that the trousers are perfect for horseback riding. German archaeologists emphasized that Kazakhstan was a key section of the Silk Road and they would like to visit the country. The scientists believe that Kazakhstan still has many undiscovered mysteries. Batyrzhan Smakov is one of the winners of the 100 New Faces of Kazakhstan project. The vocalist and conductor was given the title of UNESCO Artist for Peace for a series of fundraising concerts to help Syrian children. Kazakhstan's only countertenor and the initiator of the anthology of the Kazakh choral music is actively touring. The famous conductor is welcomed at the largest stages in the world. The opera singer performed in Italy, Georgia, France, Egypt, Jordan, Russia and Poland. Batyrzhan is planning to tour in several European countries this spring.
Я приучил себя ложиться где-то в 11.
I taught myself to go to sleep at 11 or 12 at night and get up at 7:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning so that my vocal cords can rest for 7 to 8 hours. With this, I can be constantly in shape vocally and have enough time to perform more work.
Также, чтобы успевать как можно больше работы сделать.
The young conductor studied in the Italian Guacchino Rossini Music Conservatory. Batyrzhan also completed the International Academy of Lyric Opera in Osimo in Italy, where he had lived for 6 years. The teacher of the Kazakh National University of Arts believes that having a talent is a small component of the success, while hard work and self-improvement are essential.
Я хочу сказать, что было непросто, потому что
I want to admit that it was not easy. I had to deal with a lot in both personal and professional aspects. At that time, I was conducting some scenes from operas, cantatas, and oratorios. However, it allows me to gain significant experience.
Но это все дало мне огромный опыт.
Astana residents will be able to witness the performance of the only countertenor in Kazakhstan at the upcoming La Regata Veneziana concert on April 21st in Astana Opera.